What's going on, guys? It's Brendan here, and I'm going to be talking about my outline for my presentation. I'm going to be doing Prezi. Um, so let's get started. The introduction, I'm going to talk about my thesis along the lines of why players take performance-enhancing drugs and what it's doing to the game. Basically, it's bringing it down. It's frowned upon. You get fined and suspended, which I'll be talking about later on in my outline, which is later on in my paper. Um, so yeah, that's basically the introduction. I'm gonna move on to my second paragraph, which is what kind of drugs players prefer, whether it's fast recovery, say they pitch a couple innings, they feel sore the next day. That steroid will make them a lot stronger than a normal pitcher or normal human being recovery rate, and they won't feel fatigued or pain the next day after taking this performance enhancing drug. Endurance, and as long as it boosts their statistics, they're going to be satisfied because they're producing, and that's what you want to be doing in the MLB, is producing, because there's guys down in the minor leagues who want to take that spot. And alright, let's move on to paragraph 3. This one was kind of hard because I had to go into detail about what ownership does to prevent this. You can see the pros and cons for this. The ownership, the team wants the players to produce, and back then ownership, they didn't really care much about their players taking performance enhancing drugs. And I go into detail with the 3 sources I had. I found a quote on how ownership is dealing with this. I also found quotes on what happens with the ownership, and how they fine and suspend their players. But what I said earlier with the pros and cons, ownership wants their players to produce, so they didn't really care much for fines and suspensions as long as their player was producing with the steroid or the PE drug that they were taking. But they had to crack down with this because I go on to talk in my 4th paragraph about safety issues on players' health and what happens to their bodies. And for my 4th paragraph, I had unethical behavior in taking these performance-enhancing drugs. I had 2 examples. Actually, I had 4 examples in my paper, but for the outline, I put 2. I put Barry Bonds' case and the Mark McGwire case. They both were producing really well, and they were hitting home runs like it was nothing. Like, you don't see players today hitting 60, 65 home runs because they're tested, and I include that in my paper. I say that players are being tested for performance enhancing drugs, and that's where the fines and suspensions come in if they get caught. So yeah, basically that's roughly what my outline and paper are about. And to conclude it, I say it's frowned upon, and I get the outcome and the results of the players' statistics. And for my Prezi, I'm going to be showing pictures of graphs and of a player who takes a performance-enhancing drug and someone who doesn't take a performance-enhancing drug, and you compare the 2, and you see these huge gaps. You see players who are on it who are taking a performance-enhancing drug are hitting over 300 average, and they're averaging 50, 60 home runs a year with 120 RBIs, when someone who doesn't, who is doing it legit is batting, roughly around like 260, 25 home runs, 80 RBIs, somewhere. You can definitely spot out someone who's taken it. But yeah, this is concluding it. I kind of did this late. I did it actually really late. I made two outlines for this. I basically was my own feedback. Uh, I did my own idea technique, or I made like a scratch outline. I brainstormed all my ideas on the paper, and I put them on. I sectioned them out. I got my paragraphs and from the main ideas, and I put them down in order, basically what I talked through for my outline. Uh, yeah, so I'll be uploading my Prezi Presentation soon, so let's do this.